Yo, what's up, everybody, and thank you for tuning in to another review of The Chi. This is season 5, episode 8, entitled Sweet Thing. If this is your first time coming to my channel, welcome. If you are a returning family member, you already know what it is and what it always will be. This was another great episode. Shout out to the wardrobe team because everyone had on Valentine's Day colors. Even down to the extras, even down to the most minute, minuscule detail. Everything was white, red, shades of pink. It was lovely. I enjoyed watching it. It was really, really good. You guys outdid yourself. So make sure you like, share, subscribe if you want to. If not, just sit back, relax, and we're going to get into this review. So we open up. It's Valentine's Day. All the men except for Papa are out shopping for Valentine's Day gifts. Emmett, this part was so funny. Emmett and another shopper both arrive at the last Valentine's Day card. They look at each other knowing that both want the card, but Emmett beats him to the punch, and so he starts laughing. But the guy grabs the envelope that the card goes into, balls it up, and throws it at Emmett. They were both being petty, but it was so funny because I'm like, I can only imagine when you wait to the last minute to go shopping, that's just something that happens. So Darnell is the only oblivious one. Okay, this man is shopping and he has no idea that it is Valentine's Day. This man puts beer, Old Spice, air freshener, and KY jelly in his cart. He's just so oblivious. It's hilarious. So we see Jake deciding on what card to get for Gemma, and as he stands in line, we could still see the hurt and pain on his face, and it was just so sad. I'm like, oh my God, look at him. He just looks so incredibly sad. So Gemma's room has cards, get well cards, balloons, even wilted flowers. They're all on her dresser, and she's in bed as Jake comes in. Her phone goes off, but she doesn't answer. And I can only imagine during that time she must have been getting text crazy, you know what I'm saying? But it doesn't look like she's really been attending to them. He hands her a Valentine's Day card, and she thanks him. They're both dealing with the emotional turmoil of losing their baby. They both are in search of how long their feeling of grief and loss will last. And it's honestly a question that no one can really answer. Gemma tells Jake that he should go, and she doesn't want him late for school. And as he begins to walk out, he decides to stay with her. And she tells him that he doesn't have to do that. And he responds with, "Yes, I do." And he sits on the foot of her bed as she, is laying down. And I just feel so bad for them. Like, I feel bad for them both. They are so incredibly young, yet the heaviness of what they are going through can be emotionally crushing. It's like they're young. They don't even really know how to tend to their own feelings, yet alone trying to be there for each other. So I just, Jake and Gemma, Mike and Judea have been really playing, their roles very well. And it's just very touching. And it's also a universal situation that so many people have been in and can relate to. So they're doing a great job with this heavy storyline. So it looks like Emmett and Darnell are moving in the last little bit of Keisha's things into the house. And Darnell lets Emmett know that he wants to marry Jada and that he wants his blessing. Emmett is shocked. His face was like, what? Like, he was shocked, you know what I'm saying? Yet he asks if, Darnell is serious. And Darnell lets him know that he's serious and that he's a changed man. And Emmett responds with, "People don't change," which seems to be a theme throughout this episode, because that line was stated a number of times. And so Keisha comes down and says, "Happy Valentine's Day." Then it clicks in Darnell's mind that, oh, damn, it's Valentine's Day. So he gets up to leave. And so Emmett was like, "Where you going?" And he was like, "Oh, I got to go get your mom a gift." And so Emmett was like, "See, that's what I mean. Like, people don't change." And so Emmett got Keisha a hotel room all to herself for Valentine's Day. And she was thinking it was going to be the two of them, because she was like, "Who's going to watch the kids?" And he was like, "Me." He lets her know that it's going to be him with the kids. She ain't got to worry about anything. No one is going to bother her, not even him. And she was like, oh, you've been listening. Men take note. Women take note as well. Always listen intently to what your partner is telling you, even down to the small things. And it is such a touching thing when the person you love provides you with what you've only stated in passing or what you've only made mention of once. And there is something so special in knowing that you are being listened to. Not the fact that they're just hearing you, but they're listening, and that they are actively doing something about what you said. So to me, Emmett gets major props. You know what I'm saying? He gets major props, major points from me. He tells Keisha, of course, it wouldn't be Emmett if he didn't say this. So, he tells Keisha that usually he'd be mad that he wasn't getting them for Valentine's Day, but the day is all about her, so he's cool. And Keisha tells him that she'll make it up to him when she gets home. And he begins to sing Faith Evans' smash hit, Soon As I Get Home. And it was so cute. It was so cute. I just love them together. I know people have their own views. Some people like them together. Some people don't. We'll get into that a little bit later. But I just love them together, especially because we've had the opportunity to go on the journey with Keisha and Emmett. It hasn't always been pretty. It hasn't always been nice, but friendship has always been their foundation. And that in itself always, in my personal opinion, makes a beautiful love story. Victor shows up to Fatima's house to drop off a Valentine's Day card. He likes Fatima, but knows he can't give her what she wants, which is to not be a secret, his secret. And even though, I don't even know what to make of this, because I really don't like them together. That's just my honest opinion. And so even though she says she doesn't want to be a secret, she's allowing herself to be just that, which is why they had dinner later on that night in the privacy of her house. I really don't I don't know how I feel about them. I just don't. I honestly like Victor with Tierra, but like I said, we will get into that mess a little bit later. So I'm sorry. Tiffany has lost her rabbit ass mind. And I like sis. I like Tiffany. Like, I'm not a Tiffany basher. I like Tiff. So she's at Emmett's house with EJ. And so there are boxes everywhere. And of course, she asked the question I think anybody would ask if he's moving. And, we know that he's not. So she's curious about the boxes. And so he tells her, about Keisha's dilemma at the dorm and that they decided to move in together. And she says, when were you going to tell me? Excuse me, ma'am? The fact that Tiffany believes she deserved a heads up or explanation about what Emmett does in his house blows my mind. It blows my mind. She thinks Emmett moved Keisha in to hurt her. And he lets her know that everything isn't about you. So she wants to know if Emmett can keep EJ for Valentine's Day. And he lets her know that he's going to have his other two children plus Ronnie. So he's going to have to pass. And her response was, Keisha can't help. I said, girl, don't be trying to plan Keisha's time. Just how you want to spend Valentine's Day with your man, baby free. What makes you think she want to have all these kids at their house? I mean, those are his kids. I'm not saying it that way, but it was just the fact, Keisha can't help you so you can enjoy your man? Tiffany. Ugh. Tiffany ass is so selfish. And this episode to me really solidified that in such major ways. And so Emmett tells Tiffany that he gave Keisha a spa day. And she responds with, you never did that for me. And I'm so glad Emma didn't feed into it. Don't feed into the victim mentality. It is what it is between us. And he was like, if you can't find nobody else to watch them, just let me know. And I was so glad that he heard her, but he didn't acknowledge it and left it about his child, which I totally loved. But I'm going to have more details about Tiffany and all them when we get to this later scene. So we see Kevin and Lene going into the kitchen, and Kevin shows Lene what he got Simone for Valentine's Day, which was a star named after her. And we know that Simone is going to love it because that's just what she's into. And so Lene was looking like, this is a trash ass gift, but go ahead, bro. So she tells Kevin that if she had someone, then a flashy gift would mean something, but she's not looking for that right now because she has other things on her mind. And Kevin lets her know that he's there for her, always. And she knows that. And I really do like Lene and Kevin's dynamic, even though he liked her initially, like romantically, I'm glad that they have more of a brother-sister relationship. And it's just really nice because she doesn't have that. You know, she had a brother. We all know what's going on with him. He's going to be going to prison for the rest of his life for murder. And I'm glad that even though even though Kevin can never fill the shoes of her brother, I'm glad that she has that dynamic with him. So later on, we see Kevin and Simone have dinner. I believe she lives with her grandmother. And she tells him that, you know, he's kind of nervous when he gives her the gift. But, you know, she loves it, and she tells him that it's the best gift that she's ever received. And we go back to Jake and Gemma. And Gemma tells Jake about a dream she had of them bonding with their baby and that it felt normal. And so Jake asks her, is there any part of her that feels relieved? Basically relieved that, you know, they're not going to have a child, because initially she didn't want the baby. And I believe Gemma gets offended because the nature surrounding how she lost the baby. She asked Jake, you know, why would you ask me that? And he then, you know, asked her in the dream if the baby was a girl or a boy. And she asked him, does it matter? And she is a bit like dismissive about it. And Jake tells her he feels like everything that he says is wrong. And Gemma lets him know that there's nothing he can say to make her feel better, which is the absolute truth. And I saw that some people, you know, were saying how, you know, Gemma was mean to him. She needs to understand that they're both going through something. And I don't think that Gemma is oblivious to the fact that Jake is dealing with this loss as well. I believe they're kids, you know what I'm saying? They're kids. So I don't expect them to know how to handle this level of loss in an effective way. You know, I think in Gemma's mind, she feels, what's the point of revealing the sex of the baby when they'll never, you know, experience having that said baby? And I think on the other hand, Jake wants to feel connected and included to what Gemma experienced in her dream, even if it was just a dream. You know, they'll never see this child. They'll never know what this child looked like. But Gemma had the experience of dreaming this, and I think he just wants to be included in that. You know what I'm saying? But I'm gonna just go ahead and finish their scene. So Jake let Gemma know that, you know, she won't always feel like this, because she wants to know when she's gonna be happy again. And he was like, you know, I don't know, you know, but I know that you won't feel this way forever. And she asked him if he thinks that they'll have kids one day. And he tells her that he hopes so. And then he holds her hand. Very sweet moment. I'm loving how the writers have changed. I'm not going to say changed. I like how the writers are allowing Jake and Gemma, to me, to have a very authentic relationship when you're that age, because it made me think about my boyfriend at that age. And maybe I'll tell the story. I'll do like a special little thing with the Shy, tell the story how me and my boyfriend at that time got together. It was very messy, almost very similar to Jake and Gemma, but it was different. But it was messy as hell, and it was wrong as hell. So I kind of understand that. But even though the way we got together was foul, the dynamic that we experienced was so real and so, I think, important at that time, because, you know, it was my first experience of truly experiencing love and emotions outside of my family and my friends. It was very different, very real, very strong. And even as an adult, I knew that how I felt about this person then, what I felt for him was so real. And so I like how they're writing Jake and Gemma and allowing them to experience these different feelings. And so the next morning, Gemma awakens to her father being in her room, and she lets him know that she was scared. You know, scared of what he would think, scared of what other people would think or say, scared that Jake would be mad at her, and scared that she wouldn't be a good mother. And I love that Marcus always reaffirms Gemma. Regardless of what's going on, he always reaffirms her that he will always be there for her, no matter what. Good, bad, ugly, indifferent. You're my child, and I'm going to be there for you, and I'm going to ride for you. And I think that's so important, especially because we don't see Gemma having a motherly presence in her life. I'm glad that Marcus is intelligent enough with his emotions that he knows how to be there for his daughter. So Jake shows up with breakfast and juice, and Marcus, allows him to have time alone. And Jake asks him how she feels. And she says that she's feeling a little better, and he lets her know that he's happy to see her smile again. And they both state how they'll never be the same, which I believe is a true statement. And so let's get into this messy ass mess. Rashad didn't have the funds to buy Deja a gift and take her out to eat. So Tree was like, so what did you choose? And he was like, I'm going to take her to Smokies. And I felt like Keisha a few episodes back when she asked Emmett, you don't never get tired of eating Smokies? I'm like, damn, I know Smokies is the go-to, but not on Valentine's Day, Rashad. Not on Valentine's Day. So Tierra suggests that Shad and Deja join her and Victor for dinner. And Victor was concerned about who was going to pay for everything. And she was like, do the will. So we began to see Tierra look at Shad a bit differently, almost as if she likes what she sees. And so at dinner, Shad and Deja were all lovey-dovey. Of course they should be. Victor was not present at all. He was on his phone until Shad told him to be present and pay attention to the beautiful queen that's sitting next to him. Deja didn't like that. Her face went like, what? She didn't like that at all. And Tierra seemed impressed. I think Tierra enjoys the way that Shad issues out compliments without them coming off as predatorial or creepy. Because I think he is very, he means no malice by what he says. And so even though her and Victor are just for show, a woman still wants to receive compliments and praises. Like, you really look good, that dress or that pantsuit look good on you or whatever. And Victor, I'm trying to call him Victor now. Victor is just so like into his own stuff that he's not really concerned, about Tierra in any way. So back at the house, Trig is on his phone. I'm going to assume it was him making plans with Fatima. And Shad comes in and tells Tierra that she looks good enough to eat. Oh, baby, she liked that. Oh, she loved to hear that. Then here comes Victor. Yeah, you look nice. I was like, you could have kept that. You could have kept that. Anyway, so Shad asked Tierra where she was about to go, because I think she was applying her lipstick. And before she could answer, Victor tells Shad to get out of her business and tend to his own Valentine. And Shad shakes the can like of Cool Whip, and he was like, I'm about to. And so Tierra tells Victor that Shad was just being nice, and his response was, yeah, a little too nice. And he walks away. I don't understand Victor, okay? I don't understand Victor. He claims that he and Tierra are just for show, yet he still comes off at times as territorial. Then at the same time, he acts completely uninterested in her. So I'm not really sure what's going on with this. I often wonder if he really knows what he wants, even though I do believe that he does like Fatima. So as Shad goes down to his room, Deja is pissed. Like, she's on 10. She's mad that Shad told Tierra that she looks good enough to eat. And I understand where she's coming from. I can understand her feeling a way about him making that comment. And she lets him know that the comment was disrespectful to her. I personally think she could have explained that without getting as angry and petty as she did. And so it's obvious that Shad meant no disrespect by his statement. And she believes that Shad has a crush on Tierra. Shad, I laughed. Shad was like, I've been locked up for 10 years. I have a crush on everybody. I said, Shad, that was not what you were supposed to say. But I understand the honesty, and I love it. And so then Deja takes it a step further. She tells Shad that she's the reason Tierra is even paying attention to him. And she's the one who has him looking good out in these streets. I was like, damn, Deja. And then, Shad lets her know that he's not a charity case and that she's not doing him any favors. And she was like, I've done you a lot of favors. I didn't like her attitude. I didn't like her attitude in this scene. And it just felt like, to me, what she was exhibiting came from a deeper place. Because now all of a sudden she's regretting giving Shad a chance. And in my mind, I'm like, he hasn't done anything that incriminating. And it got you this pissed. So it made me think, like, maybe you got something else going on, sis. Then Tierra brings her ass downstairs. Shad thinks it's someone breaking into the house, and she lets him know that Rosalind had to reschedule their plans and that she wanted his company because there was no need for both of them to be alone on Valentine's Day. I said, don't do it. No. It's finna be trouble in paradise. So Shad is shocked as hell that she's coming on to him. Then she kisses him. He backs away, discombobulated, and tells her that he's in a situation. She says, so am I, and then proceeds to kiss him again. I said, oh my God. I don't know if they had sex, but they probably did. But this finna be some hell. Okay? So, Lord, Jada and Darnell go out to dinner, and they bump into a couple they knew from high school. It kind of put a damper on the evening because the couple begins to bring up things from the past, and it doesn't paint Darnell in the best of light, and it gets to him, and Jada, continues to talk about like he's a great guy, that was a long time ago, and it really got to Darnell because when they got back to the house, he was upset, and he was like, if it wasn't for me, if I was on the up and up, we could be celebrating 20 years of marriage as well. And Jada just lets them know that that wasn't their story or their path, and that it's okay that it wasn't. And I like that. I'm like, yeah, it's okay that it wasn't. Some things happen the way that they happen, and we just move on from that. So we already know that Bakari has a crush on Lene, and he wants Papa to write something for him in a Valentine's Day card. And Papa lets him know that he'll do it if he apologizes to Jake and Gemma. Initially, Bakari tries not to take on any responsibility for Gemma losing her baby. And even though he's a hard ass, I believe that situation, shook him up. And it's hard for him to accept the role that he played in that. So he was smoking weed. Papa was like, you can't do that. You can't do that here. And so, just to finish out their scene, Papa goes to see Lene at Kevin's house to give her the Valentine's Day card. He won't tell her who it's from, even though we know she knows. And so Bakari comes in, and make a long story short, she agrees to hang out with him after he apologizes to Jake and Gemma. Now, I don't know how this is going to turn out, but he's supposed to apologize to Jake and Gemma next episode. Now, it could be too soon, but we will see. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know. I don't know. So we get to Tiffany and Rob, and he's cooking, and Tiffany tells him to turn down the sauce before he burns the house down. And she just has a horrible attitude, which is evident. And so, Rob asks her what's her problem, and she brings up Keisha and Emmett and how she doesn't like the way that they're moving. And Rob tells her that she needs to let it go, basically. And she's also mad because Rob has to go out of town for Valentine's Day, but it's the only time he can link up with his connect. Now, I did have someone ask me, how do I feel about Tiffany allowing her son to be around a drug dealer? And sometimes I think people forget that Tiffany is a drug dealer herself. Her and Rob are both legal drug dealers. Nothing that they're doing is illegal as far as we've been shown. And personally, I'm not about that life. I'm not about that life, but hey, to each his own. No judgment from me. But I have more of an issue with Tiffany putting Rob down as a person to pick up EJ before discussing it with Emmett. But I'm not going to act like Emmett didn't forget to pick up EJ from school. He was late. But I just have an issue with that. Adding someone to a child's emergency contact at school, such and such, both parents should be in agreement with that, or at least have the discussion. So Keisha was in her hotel room watching Waiting to Exhale and decided to text Tiff. I could understand how that movie would influence someone to reach out to a friend. And I think it's important to mention that while Emmett provided Keisha time and space to herself, of all people she could have been thinking about who, to consume her mind, it was Tiffany. And so she texted Tiffany and asked her if she wanted to meet up and talk. Initially, Tiff responded with she was enjoying her Valentine's Day, but we all know the heifer was lying. She deleted the text and asked Keisha for her location. And in my opinion, Tiffany went to see Keisha with the intent to be difficult. She had no intention to rectify her friendship with Keisha. I do understand Tiffany being hurt and mad, but knowing the type of person Keisha is, being with Emmett wasn't a malicious ploy to hurt Tiffany in any way. Keisha, in my personal opinion, shows compassion to Tiffany, letting her know that she knows it's hard, but what does she expect them to do? Hide their feelings to make her feel better. This heifer says, that would be nice. I said, Tiffany, oh, you selfish, sis. Oh, you selfish. So she asked Keisha What would she do if she wanted to be with Nuck? And Keisha responds with, if he's the love of your life, I'd have to be cool with it. And Tiffany thinks Keisha is lying. Now, this is the thing. Tiffany was so into her feelings and so about her that Keisha's confession went completely over her head. Keisha pretty much told Tiffany that Emmett is the love of her life. What they have is deeper than sex and is more than just them playing house. This is the love of her life, and unfortunately, it just happens to be your ex-husband. You know what I'm saying? But we're not going to act like this is a brand new thing that Keisha and Emmett, don't have history. I said, when she asked Keisha, what makes you think he won't do to you what he did to me? And I hate when people ask that question, because you guys are two completely different women, and I love Keisha's response, is that she trusts him, period. And Tiffany blurts out, you shouldn't. And I said, oh, that baby hurt. Tiffany is hurt. So Keisha tells her that Emmett is a changed man, and Tiffany says people don't change, which goes back to what Emmett stated earlier in the episode. So, Keisha tells her, like, it's going to take time. And Tiffany was like, I don't think I want to. Like, she's not there to have any type of conclusion. Tiffany's thirsty, selfish ass shows up to Emmett's house with the intention to have sex with him. She tells him that she wants to talk to him about them. And he was like, oh, I thought you was done. And she was like, can you come sit down? He said, no, I'm better off standing. Please. So he goes over there, and Tiffany tells him that I know you still love me. And he was like, of course I do. You're the mother of my child, but I don't have feelings for you like that anymore. And she tells him that she doesn't believe him. And he was like, I'm in a relationship. And she tells him that it never stopped him before. And he says, I know, but I'm a changed man. This heifer unzips her jacket to reveal this ugly ass, hideous, sexy top. Once Tiffany realized that Emmett was not going to cave in, she gets up and she asks, so you can be loyal to Keisha, but not me. And I'm glad that Emmett didn't respond. And I think Tiffany has a lapse in memory. Now, in no way, shape, or form am I excusing or ignoring Emmett's behavior when he had sex with Dom. He was wrong as hell for that. When Tiffany decided that she wanted to have an open marriage, he went along with it, even though that's not what he wanted. But he knew that was the only way to keep her. When Emmett made it known that he only wanted to be with Tiffany, she expressed that she enjoyed how things were. Emmett didn't go out and have sex with multiple women, even though he had the free reign to. And I think if I remember correctly, it was only one girl. And by the looks of it, he wasn't even into it. And so when he expressed to Tiffany that if they couldn't be together exclusively, then he didn't want to be married to her anymore. And she lied and said she was with it. This was at Jada's party last season. And then the very next scene, we see her ass getting off the elevator to go be with Rob. I said, wait. Damn, Tiffany. You know what I'm saying? But in my opinion, she played herself. She thought Emmett was always going to be trying to win her back, and he just showed her differently. I don't think Emmett and Tiffany ever should have gotten married. I think that the moment they realized that they both wanted different things, that should have just been the end of their relationship. So we got to Nina and Dre. They were going to be going out for Valentine's Day. Nina looked good. Nina looked really, really good. And so she normally looks homely, and there ain't nothing wrong with homely, but it was good to see her dressed up for a split second. So her and Dre are in the car, and she explains that she's tired. They end up going back inside to watch the film of their wedding ceremony. And I was like, what? Y'all don't go out often, sis. You could at least go out this one night. But anyway, they watched the film of their wedding ceremony, and I guess they had sex later. That's what it was for them. So after Tiff gets rejected by Emmett, she goes back home and is surprised to see Rob. He changed his flight so that he could celebrate Valentine's Day with her. And Tiffany tells him that she went to see Keisha, and Rob is happy that they got that taken care of. He was like, yes, y'all can move on from this. And he's just really a happy-go-lucky guy. They sit down and have dinner, but it was obvious that Tiffany was not into it. And so Emmett goes to see Darnell to give him his blessing to ask Jada to marry him. And Darnell was shocked that Emmett's mind changed so quickly. And so Emmett let him know that it's because he's changed and how Tiffany tried to have sex with him. And so Darnell lets him know that he has to tell Keisha so that she's aware of his change, which she already is, but I do agree that Emmett needs to tell her what happened with Tiffany. Darnell proposes to Jada and she accepts. And she's overjoyed. She's elated. You know what I'm saying? Because this is the man she wants to spend the rest of her life with. This is just, and that's how the episode ended. And it was a great episode. I absolutely loved it. I enjoyed it. It was so good. I love the Valentine's Day colors theme, how everybody was included in that, even the extras at the restaurant, like even the waiters there. So the attention to detail in this episode was just so good, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. Like, it was just a really great episode, and I'm glad that I had some people reach out to me about, this season. And I will always say, like, I think this is one of my favorite seasons. I think because when the show first came out, initially there was a lot of violence. There was a lot of killing and, things of that nature. And I think you can't stay there. Like, to me, The Chi is a great show that has shown how things evolve, how people come in your life and how they leave. And I think it shows a true depiction just of life in itself. As you mature and as you grow, things that used to matter to you don't really matter to you anymore. And I think that we are getting an authentic display of that with all the characters. And I have thoroughly enjoyed this season. Sad that we only have 2 more episodes left, but it's been a great ride thus far. Hopefully we get picked up for season 6 because the show is definitely worth that. So until next time, thank you guys for listening. I will holler at y'all later.